Testing, testing. Woohoo! Got it working. Hey, happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to a Sci-Fi Center semi-overnighter, a Sunday semi-overnighter. Probably the most relaxed show of the week, simply because I think we've covered all the bases. This is just a continuation on anything that we've covered throughout the week and anything you guys want to bring up. One thing I did forget to do last night, and I'm probably going to go straight to hell for this. Last night during our semi overnighter, or not, our full overnighter, even though I had put it in the thumbnail, somehow, some way, I forgot to bring up the passing of one Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman, and I literally, you know, had it in the thumbnail, and I went through all the thumbnail stuff, and I still forgot to, obviously Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman, best known as Pee Wee Herman, but he's been in a whole bunch of other stuff as well. But most of you know him as Pee Wee Herman, passed away earlier this week after a private battle of cancer. I didn't even know he was ill. Um, and that's just the way it's been going. A lot of these celebrities just keep that under their hat. Actor Paul Rubens, who came to fame in the 1980s as children's TV star Pee Wee Herman, has died years after a cancer diagnosis, his team said. He was 70. Last night, we said farewell to Paul Rubens, an iconic American actor, comedian, writer, and producer whose beloved character Pee Wee Herman delighted generations of children and adults with his positivity, whimsy, and belief in the importance of kindness, according to a statement posted on his Facebook. Paul bravely and privately fought cancer for years with his trademark tenacity and wit, a gifted, prolific talent. He will forever live in the comedy pantheon and in our hearts as a treasured friend and a man remarkable character, generosity, and spirit. It had not been previously disclosed that Paul Rubens was diagnosed with cancer. The announcement of his death included a personal statement from the actor explaining why he had kept his medical condition under wraps. Please accept my apology for not going public with you. I've been facing the last 6 years. He wrote, I have always felt a huge amount of love and respect for my friends, fans, and supporters. I have loved you all so much and enjoyed making art for you. Um, and that's pretty much it. It just goes over his career. Like I said, I mean, I came across Pee Wee Herman on what was an adult Showtime special, believe it or not. And that's why when Pee Wee had the whole theater, incident, the adult theater thing, if you had watched his previous stuff on Showtime, you realize just what adult nature that his comedy was. And when they let that a lot of that carry over to the TV show, I'm like, wait a minute, take away some of the lewd jokes and the cussing. This is pretty much the same thing he was able to get away with. And you could see a lot of innuendo and a lot of code when you watched Pee Wee's Playhouse. Obviously, if you were a little kid, you were none the wiser. But if you had seen him in other stand-up routines and in other formats, you're like, wow, how did this last on a kid's, Saturday morning cartoon for 4 years? It's kind of sleazy. But once again, he was a legend. I mean, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he's been in a lot of stuff. And it wasn't until he passed, when they go over his entire career, you realize just how underrated in entertainment he was. And I didn't realize. I mean, yeah, everybody goes old, but damn, I didn't realize he was 70. And and like I said, it's just I didn't know he was ill until he passed away. So rest in peace, Pee Wee Herman. Like I said, I had that on the thumbnail last night, and like an absolute buffoon, I forgot to see. I should have opened up the show with that. So sorry about that. Sorry, Pee Wee. Rest in peace. All right, well, let's get to the chat because that's mainly what these overnighters are about. All right. Oh yeah, if you get the chance, you know what? Like I said, $1, $2, $3. Like I said, you're gonna, I've been promising this for a while, and I have been making the upgrades. It's been out of sight in most of the cases. One of the reasons why I don't appear on screen when I'm at the house right now, except for our Star Trek streams, is because I'm moving things around and creating more of a studio atmosphere here at my house. So I'm purchasing stuff, getting stuff done, and then some of the people who come on our shows aren't necessarily up to the equipment stuff. So I will grab earphones and things for people like that. So if you ever can, whatever you can is cool. $1, $10, $5 doesn't matter. Streamlabs.com/sci-fi center/tip. Every little bit helps. All right, Donovan. Wonder Woman: Living Hell. We're going to get a trailer for Matthew Vaughn's Argyle. When is the release date for Argyle? Let me check on the release date. That might. I mean, okay. Let's see. Argyle's upcoming spy action figure, directed and produced by Matthew Vaughn and written by Jason Fuchs. It's based on the yet to be released novel of the same name. Wow, getting a movie before the novel by the first-time author Eli Conway. The film features an ensemble cast that includes Henry Cavill, Sam Rockwell, Bryce Dallas Howard, John Cena, damn, Dua Lipa, and good lord, that's pretty packed. Argyle is scheduled to be released in the United States on February 2nd, 2024. So you got about 6 months, so you should probably be getting a trailer here within the next 2 weeks, I'm guessing. So that's my answer to that question. How you doing, How Jordan? Please like and subscribe. Yeah, you beat right to it. Please like and subscribe. Right now, I'm currently on the Poindexter Lounge. Like and subscribe him, and then go over to my channel, the Sci-Fi Center's YouTube channel, right below my pulsating head there, and sign up there. And like I said, I'm on a quest to get 1,000 viewers before I'm 78. So I got 30 years. Hell yeah, how you doing, Ray? Let's see. We love you, Paul. Virtual hug. I just love the way, because of the way it comes through, it just says the word. But when I know when you look at it somewhere else, it actually just gives you the little signal that she's giving. So Ray, I'm gonna get you a bunch of shirts that just have all these things that you type in on it, just in the word. It's gonna be cool. Barbie over $1 billion. Margot Robbie needed a hit, and she was on a negative streak. Yeah, and ironically, her negative streak was more, a lot to do with her signature character that she had for a while, which is Harley Quinn. Yeah, 2 bombs in a row with that character. So, like I said, Barbie hitting $1 billion. That's good. It helped drag Oppenheimer over the finish line. Where did Oppenheimer end up? Like I said, I think the whole Barbieheimer thing is absolutely ridiculous. But you know what? It helped bring Oppenheimer with his $100 million budget at a $552 million take-in worldwide. I don't know how much Oppenheimer. I mean, Oppenheimer really only needed to make about $300 million to be successful, twice its budget. They didn't spend too much. I mean, I got posters and T-shirts, but really, I mean, they didn't go bonkers with the ad budget on this one. So, but now here it sits, 552 and climbing. And when the Oscar time comes around, you're going to get a lot of the people, because what ends up happening is these movies get re-released right around Oscar time because the buzz helps generate revenue. So, congratulations to both of those movies. How you doing, Music Man? Yeah, I love Pee Wee's Playhouse. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of dirty shit that went on in Pee Wee's Playhouse. If you understood Pee Wee's humor and you understood the underlying, if you saw his act before he became, Pee Wee's Playhouse, you really understood that he really used a lot of that same stuff. He just made it kid friendly. But if you watch Showtime, if you watch the specials, wow, But I say, you know what? Kudos to them for being able to keep that on the air. And this is before they found out about all of the other stuff. But Pee Wee was great, man. Pee Wee was iconic. Yeah, February 12th. Yeah, I saw it. So. How you doing, Keely Chow? What's going on? Yeah, Pee Wee hit me hard simply because I didn't know he was ill. See, when some of these other guys like Eddie Van Halen's hit me really, really hard, but I knew he was fighting cancer. And I knew he was having a tough time. I didn't know just how tough a time he was having, but I knew he was having a tough time. And then when he died and Chadwick Boseman died, I didn't know he was ill. And it was just a gut punch. But a lot of the deaths that end up hitting me are people who like commit suicide. Like Anthony Bourdain, to this day, I know it's been 5 years. Anthony Bourdain, because I'm a night owl, and I was watching MSNBC. I watched the news, because I watch a lot of news, a lot of sports, and they broke into what they were saying. They were talking about something else, and they got it over the wire, and they announced it, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning because he had done it overseas. And when Anthony Bourdain committed suicide, that just was a jolt to my system. And then when I watched Roadrunner, when I watched all the things afterwards that were about him and getting on the inside of what he was dealing with, you watch his show and he's very candid with his struggles, but he just came off as a guy that was handling them. And when he passed away, it was just a big punch to the gut. I still think that one to this day bothers me. All right. Yeah, Grace Jones, Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne was on Pee Wee. I mean, before he was Morpheus, he was Cowboy Bob? Hold on. All right. I still, whenever I see him in that ridiculous costume, you just realize you gotta appreciate Lawrence Fishburne's dimensions, and dynamics as a performer, to be able to play such a absolutely ridiculous character, and then go on and have such a career. There he is. There's Pee Wee every Saturday morning, and like I said, I wasn't an 8 or 9-year-old watching it. When that show came on, I think it came on from 86 to 90 or 88, 92, something like that. I was an adult. I mean, not adult. I'm sorry, not adult. I was like 14, 15, and it still appealed to me. I mean, he was just the kind of performer that would appeal to all ages in some way, shape, or form. So. Robin Williams just shocked me too, and like I said, it's because I didn't know what he was going through, and that's the thing. Listen, guys, every minute you have on this planet, appreciate every minute that you have on this planet, that you are in good health, both mentally and physically, if not both. You just don't know. And when I found out with Robin, he had another disease that was onsetting, and he also, from what I hear, he had onset Parkinson's, and he didn't want his family to be, caring for him like that. He didn't want that to be how they remembered him. So when I first heard that Robin Williams had committed suicide, I was angry. I'm like, dude, this guy was full of life. How could he do? And then you start to learn, you start to understand the situation. Like I said, you know how we feel here at any of these networks I'm on, that we feel about suicide prevention. Get help, dial 988, do what you need to do. But at the same time, I could understand it a little bit better given the medical condition that he was going through. And but it was a shock to me too, because none of that stuff was public facing. I didn't learn about what physical ailments that Robert Williams had until after he had passed away. So yeah, that one was a shocker, man. No, I would rather drink out of the toilet than listen to that. Oh, you know what I am listening to? Like I showed you guys a couple of nights ago. I'm listening to the Oppenheimer score. Man, it's a beautiful score. I'm gonna bring it up in here. Obviously I can't play it, but it's the Destroyer of Worlds. Let me make sure I'm muted here. I'm gonna put it in the chat. That's what I'm listening. This is what I've been listening to lately, over and over again. They got a really long version of it. Yeah, that would have been kind of cool. You know what? I think he would have been down for it because, to be honest with you, that helped him as a career, man. I mean, if you take a Lawrence Fishburne now and think about him back in the '80s, it was just a job, and it was a job that helped him get other jobs. You know, how you doing, Jacob? Cool. If there's ever going to be a studio head that is going to release the Ayer cut, it's going to be James Gunn. So, good luck with all that. Like I said, I'm not against the Ayer cut coming out. I just don't see any narrative reason for it to come out if you're not going to go ahead and finish, and continue to what it was going to lead to. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But hey, if you get it, you get it. It also said that after Gunn launches his DC universe over the next couple of years, without the drama of a project, the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad will have its time to be shared. There's never going to be a era without drama when it comes to DC's old projects because we've already discussed the likelihood of them resolving those old projects, so they're always going to sit there. See, by not resolving those old projects, they just become the big boogeyman that grows and grows and grows and creates a life of its own. So I hope he finds a way to do it anyway. Hi, Aaron. How you doing? What's going on, Aaron? Adrian? Adrian. Why am I calling you Adrian? What's going on, Belcher? William, I thought on there are two post-credit scenes in Blue Beetle. I don't. Were they originally supposed to be there from the previous regime, or are we talking about new stuff that is, you know, well, nothing's happening with the new universe, so I'm pretty sure that they're probably contained. I don't think they're going to lead to anything, but I could be wrong. Yes, he is. I had heard some other stuff that he had done before because when I looked up Hans Zimmer, they suggest him to you, and when I look up other composers, because I'm a big composer, composition guy when it comes to these movies. Sometimes it is like Dunkirk. Dunkirk's sound score is beautiful. It's one of the best things about that movie. So when uh, when this came out and I heard the soundtrack, I heard the soundtrack to Oppenheimer first, but it just doesn't strike you like it's deeply until you hear it and you watch it in context of what's going on. And I really enjoyed it. So, like I said, the Destroyer of World so far is my favorite one off the soundtrack, and that's the one I put into the chat room. I haven't. I know there's a lot of big stars on Barbie's. Now, is the soundtrack for Barbie what you're talking about? Or are you talking about the actual score itself? Because as you know, I have not seen Barbie, but that doesn't mean I won't listen to its sound score. Because to be honest with you, there's a lot of movies that I haven't seen that because of YouTube I will hear their sound scores. So. Music man, I hope James releases a Chewbacca cut of Batman Forever. Once again, they might throw it on Max. Batman Forever to me is fine as is. Personally, I don't need to see. I don't always need to see. I mean, obviously Zack Snyder was a unique situation, but I don't always need to see the director's cut version. Like you had, like David Ayer was different, but with Batman Forever is one of my favorite. It is my favorite of those original movies, and I don't see anything that could change that for me yet. I've heard what's in the Schumacher cut, and I'm like, there's nothing that I've heard about that's really going to dramatically change that for me. But if they release it, you know what? Why not? It's 30 years ago. It's why not? And go ahead and put it out there and let people judge for themselves. Um, but like there's, but I always, have to remind myself most of the time when a producer or editor cuts something from a movie, it needed to be cut. Perfect, perfect example for me is Alien. Ridley Scott has his director's cut of Alien, and be honest with you, the producers got it right. There are things in Alien that that didn't enhance the experience of the movie for me. And Ridley Scott is a brilliant director, but most directors in that era had producers and people over them that had to look at the big picture or bigger picture. William thought of Barbie as fast as Warner Brothers film goes to $1 billion worldwide, reaching the milestone in 17 days. Like I said, this is what happens when you have an IP that hasn't been mismanaged. You can do wonders, man. But yes, Blade Runner 2049 score is amazing. Hans Zimmer, like I said, let me get another one for you guys here, because obviously I can't play it because I don't want to get thrown off, even though. This is the best. This is the best song or the best piece on Blade Runner's 2049's sound score. It's called Seawall. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly where it takes place. William Jenkins confirms Creature Commander season 1 will be 7 episodes. Don't much have an opinion about Creature Commanders. I know who they are. They've been around for quite a while right now. And, interesting characters. But I just don't have my interest right now is like, that's nice. But I'm pretty sure once I take a look at it, I'll like it. But right now, I just don't have any, I wonder if that's even going to come out on time because of the whole strike situation. Another Hans Zimmer score. You can't go wrong there. Oh no, just the soundtrack with Barbie. Yeah, I know you got Dua Lipa in there. You got a couple of big names that are actually in the movie and are musicians. So, like I said, it looks like Barbie just struck gold on all levels. Hold on for a second. Shit. Trying to eat my food. Speaking of music from films, the music of Road to Perdition and The Punisher is amazing. Which Punisher? Road to Perdition, yes. Road to Perdition is great. By the way, comic book adaptation that a lot of people don't realize is a comic book adaptation. Road to Perdition. Great movie, though. District 9. Oh, shit. Almost blew my nose off my head. Yeah, District 9. That's another underrated science fiction movie, by the way. They don't have Aqua Babago in the film, so that soundtrack sucks. Oh, my goodness. I thought for sure that would be in there. I'm a Barbie. Oh, dude, back when that song first came out in the 90s, late 90s, I think it was 97, I wanted to kill Aqua. They played the shit out of that song. And I'm like, come on, Barbie, let's go party. Oh, stop it. It was like if you wanted to torture me back then, just strap me to a chair and play that in Chumbawamba. That would have just, I would have probably just submitted and gone crazy. Anthony, William, what do you think Oppenheimer is now the highest grossing WWE film, passing both? That surprised me. Because Saving Private Ryan is huge. But you also got to realize that, adjusted dollars and everything else, but Saving Private Ryan was in 1997, so you're talking about a movie that's well, within, plus ticket prices. I'm wondering if they're adjustment for inflation, things like that. But yeah, that surprised me. But when those other movies were released, they didn't have a culture phenomenon, icon like Barbie to attach it to. You just didn't have that back then. You also didn't have a lot of the social media movies that were promoted differently. Is it the best World War II movie? Oh no. No. Saving Private Ryan for me is the best World War II movie of all time. And I think I've seen just about all of them. Saving Private Ryan is probably, for me, in my opinion, the best World War II. One of the best war movies of all time, period. But definitely, for me, the best World War II movie of all time. Oppenheimer is brilliant. But here's the thing, though. Oppenheimer is a World War II movie. It takes place in World War II. But Oppenheimer is more about him in his situation and the visualizations that are coming from his head and the scientists. It's a more of a personal driven situation than Saving Private Ryan, which is more of a war movie. But they're both great. Uh-oh, knocking shit over. I love Batman Forever theatrical. I think it's better than Burton's films. Yeah, same here. Same here. Chappie has a great score. I have not seen Chappie. No, sadly, I did not. I was supposed to go on the Saturday morning. I sent a bunch of people to go see it. And if you look at my Instagram, we gave them all a little turtle mask and posters and everything. But I just did not have the energy to get up that early in the morning. I heard it's great, though. I do agree not all director's cuts need to be released. Friday's director's cut is one of them. Yeah, I've heard. The OC is celebrating its. Oh, wow. Are you serious? Are we talking about the show, OC? Wow, it's been 20 years. The thing I know about that show the most is that the opening song, California, here we come, right back where we started. Are we talking about that same that OC, Aaron? Wow, now I feel old. Thank you. Dua Lipa plays a mermaid Barbie. Yeah, yeah, and she does a song on the thing too. She's very talented. Yes, please like the stream. We're actually doing pretty well on our likes and stuff, and I'm looking at my analytics, and we're actually moving in the right direction, especially with our own channel. So thank you, everybody. Oh, okay, 2004 is Punisher. Yeah, that had a couple big names on that one. Oh, Aqua Barbie Girls on the soundtrack, but it's a sample remix. Okay. Oh, Lord. They did a version of Aqua Barbie in the end credits, but it's just a remake of the song. Okay. Oh, Nicki Minaj. I did hear about that. Aqua's somewhere collecting money on it. Like, oh, Lord. Ice Spice, what? William, Greta Gerwig is the first solo female director to have gross $1 billion at the box office. But there's not that many women directors doing stuff though. There's her. There's Catherine Bigelow. I mean, if you look at women directors right now, like big name ones, there's not a lot of them out there. If you think about it, and most of them, like I said, not taking away anything from Greta Gerwig. She's Academy Award nominated director. She's also been an actress as well. But Barbie's huge. Barbie is iconic everywhere in the world, and it hasn't been screwed with. It hasn't been mismanaged. Barbie was ripe for the making. I mean, as soon as that people were telling me, "Hey, they're gonna make this," I'm like, "This movie's gonna make a lot of money." And Margot, I mean, and then I heard it was gonna be in it. I'm like, "This is the silliest thing I've ever heard of," but it's gonna make a ton of money. I'm not gonna go see it, but Barbie is iconic. And it's not just iconic to little girls; it's iconic to women who were once little girls. It's like I said, there's a situation where you could have literally grandma, daughter, and granddaughter going to the movies to enjoy Barbie on multiple occasions. That's like literally printing money if you can do that right. So congratulations, Greta Gerwig. Like I said, so far, Greta, you haven't made a movie that I'm going to go see, but who knows? Yeah, dude. Oh, listen, Private Ryan, the first 37 minutes of Saving Private Ryan is intense and it is disturbing. It is brutal. If we saw it back in the 90s because my sister worked for Disney at the time. That's how we got screenings for it. So I didn't know what the movie was about. I knew it was about a war, but I didn't know a lot more. We just weren't given that kind of info. But they brought in World War II vets to see it. Those guys didn't last the first 37 minutes. It was so brutal and so real and so intense. And I had been in the Army already by that time, but I hadn't been in combat. And I trust me when I tell you, I had never been to anything into my life with those guys on Normandy had to deal with. We had guys in there with the hats, the ribbons, the stars on their hats, proud World War II veterans. It was so real so intense that you would see these guys getting up and walking out. And then Spielberg, this is when Disney, whenever, they'd had these screens, the sound was just booming and kicking. So we were listening to that. Just imagine D-Day with all the sounds and all the visions. And like I said, they didn't hold back. You saw guys walking around looking for their arms after that. You saw one guy have a small caliber bullet bounce off of his helmet. And then when he took it off and everybody said, "You lucky son of a bitch," the next shot took his entire head off. That was Private Ryan's first half hour. I've never seen anything like that since. And it was just, in the way it was shot, it was like you were in there with him. It's like I said, greatest war movie, World War II movie of all time, possibly the greatest war movie, period. How long I've been promoting movies? Let's go back 11 and a half, almost 12 years. 12 years. Trying to remember what my first one was, but I've dealt with different people in different ways over those 12 years. So, what if thought of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mayhem released on digital platforms on September 5th? I think studios need to stop doing this and let the movie. Okay, all right. I'm glad you brought this up. I don't. And I'm speaking purely from a retailer's point of view. Now, movies like this, especially Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which could be sort of aimed at a family. When you, as a distributor or as a studio, put these movies in the theater, there's so many people at the table that get a cut out of that the longer it sits in there, because a lot of their bonuses, a lot of their income, is tied to the box office, the theatrical box office. That's a lot of the reason why these strikes are happening now. And I'm not saying I don't agree with you, but if I were a studio head, I would try to get these movies in a PVOD or streaming platform as soon as possible, because you get them on a platform where you get most of the money. You're not giving up 35% to theaters. You're not giving up, you're not paying a percentage bonus to somebody or to groups of people depending on how much the movie makes in the box office. Some movies have like $15 to $20 million bonuses attached to them if the movie crosses the threshold. So the sooner I get it on my PVOD, where I believe they get the majority of the money there as well, and you get them on your streaming services where you reap the benefit of hey, I got this movie that was just in the theaters, bam, now it's on streaming. So all those guys who are about to drop off and cut their budget and get off of that streaming service, here comes Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And as long as you keep frequency of things like that coming, eventually you just forget to unsubscribe. So I think these movies are worth more to the studios the sooner they can get them on the streaming platform, because they're on platforms that benefit them more than they get everything. They get more. They get the entire benefit from whatever streaming service. If they own it, if it's HBO Max, then bam, and I think it's a Warner Brothers distributed movie. So if it's on HBO Max, yeah, they're not getting the cold hard cash percentage that they get from the theaters, but they're getting they're not losing a certain amount of subscribers, because hey, family for me, I want to see that. Maybe they didn't get a chance to pay all that money to go see it. And if you keep throwing things at people like that, you get what's called, what I call a collective advantage. And you can continue to justify making movies like this, because even if it doesn't make so-and-so at the dollar, at the box office, there are places that you can take this movie to where you can either make that up or you can go far beyond what you spend. So I think that the theater window is going to be 30 days eventually. I think you're going to get 30 days. And to be honest with you, I'm fine with it, because the first 2 weeks is where the movie makes the majority of its money anyway, in most cases. Obviously, movies like Barbie, Top Gun, Aquaman, different situation. But the vast majority of the movies make 82% of their revenue in the first 2 weeks. So those last 2 weeks are drag. And plus, these same studios have other movies that they want to put on those screens. So it works for them that way. So no, I don't think that method's going anywhere. Unfortunately, I think James Jacobs. Alien Director's Cut is fine, but I barely remember any stuff about it. Yeah, it just had a bunch of stuff that just didn't matter. You know? William voice acting for Creature Commandos was finalized before SAG after strike via James Gunn. Yeah, but here's a problem with that. A lot of the stuff that's being held up has been done. It's in the can. But if you can't promote it, do they want to go forward with putting it out there? You know, I mean, maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'm not sure. Daredevil and Electra had a great soundtrack. Yeah, Daredevil had Evanescence. That's where I first heard Evanescence. Bring Me Back to Life. Transformers Rise of the Beast is still in some theaters, but it's already on Paramount. I guess they're desperate for subs. Well, they've made their money. Transformer Rise of the Beast has made all the money it's going to make. By the way, I still have a few digital copies of Transformers Rise of the Beast. If you guys want to email me, I'll pick some winners right now. Hey, I'll put my contact at thesciflicenter.com. Go ahead and send me an email if you haven't already won. Some of the winners I've already got last night. There you go. Send me an email with the subject being Transformers, and I just may send you a digital copy. But Paramount Plus, like I said, it's just worth more to them going on PVOD, physical media, because some people will still buy these movies on physical media, and they get a huge percentage of that. And then when it goes on their streaming service, another brand new movie. That's just one more thing to keep you on that streaming service. So they're supplanting the money that goes through the box office with the fact that they have people feeding into their streaming services. And if you are able to stabilize that revenue and tell your shareholders and your stockholders, hey, guess what? Every damn month of the year, 1.5 billion, 2 point whatever billion a month. And the way you do that is you keep this kind of content coming to you as quickly as possible. You shorten the movie. Say, hey, wasn't that just in I missed Transformers in the theaters, or I missed this movie in the theaters. Damn, it's on streaming. I got Paramount Plus. Or you start paying, you know what? I love Star Trek, and now this is on there. So now you get more 2 or 3 reasons. Now you're on the streaming service. Now you're there to stay. And that revenue stabilization, what that does is that allows them not to spend any of their money, because guess what? If you're pulling in that kind of revenue a month, that kind of revenue a year, you're going to have people that will finance your projects because they know that they're getting their money back on several different platforms and levels. So I am all for, I understand the business model there. I understand it. And to be honest with you, I'm all for it, because guess what? Movies that I really want to see, trust me, you think I'm waiting for Blade Runner 2049 to hit its third week before my eyeballs are on it? This movie, Last Voyage of the Demeter, you think I'm going to be seeing that in a preview screening? But if I didn't have access to a preview screening, you think I'm not going to be there on Friday? If it's a movie people want to see, they generally are going to see it within the first 2 weeks. So I think it works out for everybody. It keeps the flow going. Yeah, so am I, man. It looks great. Like I said, all 3Ds, baby. Everybody dies. That's not a spoiler alert. If you read Dracula, you ever watched any Dracula movie, you know what happens when that ship arrives in London and there's nobody on it but him. Figure that part out. When I first was a Barbie, I heard that was a Barbie. I thought, wow. Then I saw the film; it was good. I just don't like the ending. When I first heard that there was a Barbie movie, I'm like, they're going to print money. Barbie's probably going to be Margot Robbie, only $1 billion movie, but we'll have to. You never know. She's very diverse. She's very diverse. You just never know. I mean, you just never know. But she's talented enough to where she fits into a lot of different franchises that could make $1 billion on their own. But Barbie is iconic. Barbie is iconic, and it hasn't been screwed up. Yeah, and like I said, I have no doubt that those are quality movies. that I won't ever see. I will never sit down and watch Lady Bird. I will never sit down and watch Little Women unless somebody makes a 3D version of them. And when I say 3D, I don't mean three dimensional. I mean death, destruction, and dismemberment. You give me Lady Bird with violence, all right, I'm in. You give me Little Women with dismemberment and destruction, I'm down. But other than that, nah. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's made more globally than anything. But like I said, even it's an American icon, so that doesn't, like I said, it's a global icon, but it's an American-made icon. No surprise there. Congratulations. How you doing, Azteca? Hmm. What's the worst war film I've ever watched? Wow, I gotta think about that one. Because I've seen a lot of war movies. I haven't seen too many bad ones, though. To be honest with you, I've been lucky. All right, so the one I'm going to come up with is okay. I enjoyed this movie, but Pearl Harbor was a sappy pile that had some really cool special effects, but it was hyperbole. It was just complete chick magnet movie. It was so I'd have to put Pearl Harbor. Oh, Aztec. I didn't think it was that bad. To be honest with you, for what it was. I mean, it kind of got goofy as they went on, but I mean, for the time, I thought it was fine. I don't like the idea, but the studio have to make money at the end of the day. Yeah, and like I said, it's not just that, but listen, we're charging more for a movie than we were 10, 15 years ago, but we're not paying people that much more. Your wage has pretty much been stagnant. Your middle class wage, and I'm not saying this to be political, but your middle class wages, if you look at it, it's pretty much been right around the same ballpark for a very long time. Everything has gotten expensive, including movies. And like I said, I always say, if you're a family of four, some of these movies are going to get eliminated off your schedule simply because of just the math and the fact that you're releasing too many movies one after another. Wham, bam, 3 weeks you have three blockbusters. So if you look at your time, you look at your schedule, you look at your wallet, two of those movies may have to go by the wayside because you literally cannot afford to do it, time wise or financially. So it's unfortunate, but that's the safety net streaming does give. It does give the consumer an option, and understand that all this streaming stuff, every modern piece of technology, every advancement we have that takes foot is driven by consumers. When we stop demanding everything hit streaming, then you might see a turn in course. But until then, I just don't see it. All right, I remember you said pulling the movie from the theater sooner benefits studios either pay them. Yeah, like I said, I think it benefits everybody eventually because even the theaters, oh, you're pulling this movie from the theaters, but guess what? They're not just leaving you without a movie. Most of these studios have multiple movies coming out, and when they pull that one off the screen, they're putting another one, so you're getting a first run movie. So I think it all works out. The stuff that really stood from you is when you said that it takes time for that fan to get used to it, so they can embrace a new version of the character and make some stuff that they love. Yeah, Barbie, like I said, 'cause Barbie, I don't recall Barbie having anything on this level movie wise, but like I'm not a Barbie aficionado, so now if people get attached to this Barbie and there's another one in 5 years, you might have an issue. But right now, it's untampered with. It's unlike Superman and Batman, where you have generations and different iterations of the characters but that are still here on the planet. You got 3 generations that have seen 3 different types of Batman movies still living and breathing on this earth. Same thing with Superman. 6-year-old me has had 2 generations come after them. Some of you guys, unfortunately, first saw Batman as a cartoon. Whereas, some of us have seen him in different forms. So we all take that to the table. And that's where the divisiveness comes from when it comes to Superman and Batman. There is no such situation with Barbie because there's never been that type of interpretation. And Marvel had that advantage coming right out of the door too, because for the most part, with few exceptions, the majority of their characters, that was the first time. That was the first time you were seeing Iron Man on the big screen in that manner. Hulk and Spider-Man were different, but, all the other ones, the main characters, Thanos, all these, that's the first time that you saw them. So there was nothing to match them up against. And Barbie is, I think, partially, and from what I hear, it's a good movie, is reaping the benefits of that. So congrats. I thought it was a good movie. Dude, that last fight scene for Rise of the Beast is amazing. Wish they would have done more Unicron. But apparently, if you watch the movie, and I won't spoil it, there's a lot that's going to happen with certain things coming down. This movie seems to be crafted to tell a much longer story. And there's a post-credit scene, if you guys haven't seen it yet, that kind of like gives you that impression. So cool. I entered these contests, but I want to see others and prizes. Okay. Yeah, the meter looks great. Turtles just need 200 million more or less to break even. Let's see. Mutant Mayhem. All right, the budget was 70 million and it made 50 million. Now it was what? Was this his first week? When was it released? Okay, so it was just released. So it's made most of its budget back. I don't know what to add. I don't know what would be a success for that. I guess you would be right. I'm assuming if it made 150, 100, 160, that's twice its production budget at least. Let's see what they're saying about it. Reception. As of August 6, 2023, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has grossed $43 million in the United States and Canada and $8.5 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $51.5 million. In the United States and Canada, Mutant Mayhem was projected to gross around $30 million from 3,851 theaters over its first 5 days of release. The film made $10 million on its first day, including $3.85 million in Tuesday night previews. Oh, that's right. That released in the middle of the week. And $4.8 million on its second. It went on to make $28 million in its opening weekend, a total for $43 million in 5 days, finishing fourth behind Barbie, Meg 2, The Trench, and Oppenheimer. That's another thing. That's a tough weekend because you have the Meg, which I hear is absolutely ridiculous fun, but you have the Meg, Barbie, and Oppenheimer. And Oppenheimer and Barbie are still on strong legs. And Barbie is not a necessary family movie, but you're taking your family to it. So that's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. And plus, a movie like this will have legs. And plus, like I said, once you reach 70 million or whatever, you throw it on physical media. So I would have to say that's a success. Agent Bill J. Williams, do you think the Lakers has a chance to win the championship next year? They have a deep roster this year. They just need a center for the 14th spot, Christian Wood or Bia. I'm going to go with Christian Wood. Just a little bit more experience and can do a little bit more. Christian Wood's a little bit more versatile, and I like his length. He's going to be playing alongside Anthony Davis, who will more than likely play the 5 in critical situations anyway. It's the only reason you're giving you're putting another 7-footer next to Anthony Davis, so you don't have the wear and tear of the entire season on him. But he will be at center when it counts. And yes, I do think they have a chance to win the title this year. They made the Western Conference Final with a team that they built at the trade deadline. And now the majority of that team is back with experience, rest, and time together, training camp together. I think they definitely could win it this year. Hold on, I got to sneeze. Oops, wrong button. Woo! That one was a tough one. But yeah, I definitely think my Lakers could win in this way. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I really like the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the movie 2013 from Michael Bay. I wish they would have continued in that tone going forward instead of just listening to shithead fans. What did that movie bring in? Because people like to crap on Michael Bay, but very few of his movies lose money. Let's see. Whoa. Okay, on a budget of 125 to 150, that movie made $493 million just in the theaters alone, not including physical media. And I remember we promoted that movie. We promoted that movie, and it wasn't a lot out. It wasn't like this one. The newest one, we got masks, we got posters, we got little turtle shells, all kinds of stuff. There wasn't a lot promoted, so I don't think the ad was that movie pulled in almost half a billion for that movie. That's not. I don't think that's bad. All right, Teenage Mutant Ninja grossed 191 million in North America and 302 million in other countries for a worldwide total of 493.3 million against a budget of 125 million. Calculated at the net profit of the film to be 81 million when factoring in together expenses and revenues. Its opening day, so let's see, 26.5 million in China. So wow. Granted, they had to pay out a lot of people, but then again, that's why the race to get to streaming is there. All right, so its sequel was 135 million, so roughly the same budget, a little bit less actually, and it pulled in 246 million. So they didn't do bad in the theater at all. And Michael Bay movies, like I said, people like to grab on his movies a lot, but they tend to make at least a profit. William is a Malibu Barbie guy, not the Malibu. I am 3D Barbie guy, Death, Dismemberment, and Destruction Barbie guy. That didn't even I go see the movies and they're shitting on the movie. Yeah, but even then with that movie, a lot of people saw that movie. That's international for Turtles. Yeah, but like I said, don't forget that if you're talking about the current Turtle movies, it's dealing with two titans. This is a once in a generation situation you're dealing with this release date. Oppenheimer is doing well, better than it was supposed to do, and Barbie's on its way to $1 billion. So Turtles are literally scrapping for pizza crumbs. I saw Turtles. Was already on home release. I guess they'll make a good chunk of change. Oh yeah. Like I said, for there's those families that can't afford right now, with just things just being tight. They can't afford to take the family of four to go see Turtles. Trust me, I sent a lot of people to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And like I always say, when it comes to a family movie, I always hear it from these guys, and they always appreciate it. They always appreciate it more so than any other movies, the cartoons and the family movies, because they tell me straight up, I would not be able to take my kids. I would not be able to see this movie right now if I weren't for this situation. Because once you factor in popcorn, candy, and the actual tickets themselves, gas and all that, you're talking about the average of $125. Now that might seem like not a lot to a lot of people, but trust me, when you're trying to stretch everything to make ends meet, 125 can mean a difference between you not going to see that movie or not. So when I was giving away these seats, I was seeing people coming in with their kids, and and are they coming in getting the whole set of the because we had one for each color, so each turtle has their own color, and we had each mask for each one. So we were setting up, families of 2, families of 3, families of 4 to go see it. And so, to me, it's beneficial for all involved. Some of those people, like the people who didn't get into our screening, that can't afford to go see Turtles, but do have the streaming service. that do that, POVD. Listen, I know it's like some of these movies are kind of for me, my cheap ass, because I'm single and I'm watching it by myself at my house. But if you have a family of four, $20 for a movie like this is cheap when you figure everything that goes into taking them out to a theater. That's a bargain. So yeah, I think it's going to make a lot of money on the backward market. 1 month away from real football. Go Cowboys. I don't know about the last part, but yes, 1 month away from good weather too. Insidious Red Door was one of the worst movies I've ever seen all year, but its budget was only about 10 or 11 million, and it made over 100 million. The series will never die. Yep. But Collapse of Blumhouse, he's a Tyler Perry of horror movies for better or worse. Yeah, Invisible Man, 7 to 9 million, and that movie made 100. Pre-injuring, LeBron was dominating basketball after he was injured and tore a tendon in his right foot. He wasn't saying when he was gassed. Well, that LeBron that you saw at the end of the season was top tier LeBron. He was gassed, however, because the entire team was gassed. You got to realize that they entered the season with that horrible team with Russell Westbrook and a bunch of people that didn't fit. Trade deadline, they only had 26 games going into the playoff to even get to know each other. And it was like a sprint. They barely made it in the playoffs. Then they had to play the play-in game. And on the road, like I said, everybody was gassed, but him mainly. But I think if you put him in the right situation and this team that has enough depth around it so he's not carrying it every night, I think this team is a championship-level team. And they just lit Anthony Davis up for a whole bunch of money, and they believe it too. So, yeah. In my humble opinion, Michael Bay's best movie was The Island. Ooh, okay. I thought The Island was clever. I don't know beyond that, but hey, everybody's different. That's really awesome. You can get families out there. Yeah, it's cool because, like I said, when I was a kid and we went to the movies, the old man took us out. Going to the movies as a family was a huge deal, man. It was a huge deal. It was a bonding period. When you take your kids to a movie, no matter how old they get, no matter how long all of us remain on this earth, whether they pass on or you're alive today, when you take your family to the movies, you are always going to have that memory. I'm always going to have that memory with my family going to see Superman 2 at Mann's Chinese Theater. I'm always going to have that memory of, like, I think 6 months later, maybe, or a couple months later, going to see Empire Strikes Back at Mann's Chinese Theater with my dad and the rest of my family. Even the shitty movies that I got pretty much outvoted into seeing, like Fear City with Billy D. Williams, horrific movie, horrible movie. I got outvoted. I wanted to go see Witness with Harrison Ford and Danny Glover, which ended up being a blockbuster hit. And I got outvoted because my dad liked Billy D. Williams. But even those moments, those are memories, man. Those are memories. How many times have you been in a conversation with somebody, or we've been in the chat room, or we've been talking about movies, and somebody brings up a memory that they went with their family, or their wife, their kid, their fiance, what that movie meant to them. But when it's a family, you're multiplying that. And when you grow old in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, that stays with you. That stays with you. So it pains me to know that there's families out there because of finances that can't afford to do it. And when I'm given the ability to do it, I love doing it. I love doing it. And it's one of the greatest assets that I have with the center is that I can do that. So I love doing it. And I'm glad I'm able to. Why was it that so popular crap on movies before they were released and you had executives listen to that garbage? Because you had executives who were not connected to the IPs the way they should have been, and their only feedback when they didn't have the proper tools to understand the IPs they have, they listened to the loudest voices in the room. And unfortunately, that's what it boiled down to. All right. Let's see. Let me check my email. See if any of you guys have. Sometimes people have been sending me questions via email lately too. So let me check my email and make sure that because I don't want to go off the air in this one for somebody. Let's see. Cool. Got to mail out another Transformer one. Do that right now. Let's go. All right. I plan on I plan on. I like the first one. I like the character representations from the first one. Yeah, that people who they got to play these people were really spot on. So yep, I plan on watching it. All right. Okay, guys. I think I've run my course here. Unless anybody has anything for me, I think this has been a successful semi-overnighter. All you on the East Coast are now into Monday, August 7th, 2023. Congratulations on making it another day. Like I said, with the whole Pee-wee situation and with any of these guys, Sinead O'Connor, anybody, the guy who passed away from Euphoria, Angus, I forgot his name, but I know his first name was Angus, 25 years old. Do not take any of this shit for granted. The air you breathe, the blood that flows through you, the moments, all that. Do not take any of that shit for granted. For you know, for granted. Just we didn't know Pee Wee wasn't okay until he was dead. All these people that are shocking deaths to you, and you look around and you think that everything's okay with them, and then it's not. So just really try to enjoy some of the stuff. I think when we get on these YouTube shows and we get on these channels and we start screaming and blocking people and going into people's comment sections and screwing with them, I really think that we are not having fun. I don't see the fun in some of the stuff that's gone on online the past maybe 2 or 3 years, and your alternatives to not having fun with this stuff is dealing with other issues. So like I said, enjoy if you're healthy and good health, and just be happy with that, and then from that point, that is your basis. Start from there. All right. My deep thoughts started 2005 with that deployment. If you go to another country and that's not the United States, and see how people are living, see how what their health is, see what they're living in, see kind of governments they're living on. You come back to the United States and it's just not the things that you were dealing with are not as big a deal as you really think they are sometimes. And if they are big deals, get help. Right now, we're all fixable. These guys that we were talking about, Pee Wee Herman, Sinead O'Connor, Angus, forgot Fetch or whatever his last name was, those guys, they're not fixable. They can no longer fix their situations. They can no longer turn their situations around. So we can't. All right. Hey, Clint, even with your health issues, dude, I guarantee you, if we search long enough, we find somebody who's in far worse health situations. Yours are significant, yes, but like I said, I can always say when I'm having a bad day, there's always some other guy out there that's probably having it bad. Thoughts on Snyder haters? Listen, I just don't have time in my headspace for them. I think that it's one thing to not like something, but it's one thing to add to make part of your day to hate it. Listen, there's a lot of things I don't like, but I'm not. That's it. I'm not going to go see them. I'm not going to engage in those fan bases. It's just that simple. I'm not going to twist myself into a pretzel fuck trying to exploit, you know, someone else's misery of not getting something, which is basically what these guys do. If you don't like the guy's movies, that's one thing. That's subjective. But when you're one of these guys that basically goes that extra mile to screw with people, you're kind of a waste of space. you really have you bring no value to the conversation. And to be honest with you, it would be a better world if everybody just tuned them out and weren't triggered by them. Batman Returns, 1991. I did not like it. The Danny DeVito sequel. I was not a fan of that movie at all. You know, I applaud Danny DeVito's transformation and performance, but I thought there was just that movie's pace and tone just never did it for me. But the next movie did, Batman Forever, came out 3 years later, and it did do it for me. So, okay, just making sure. Right, like I said, I'm just going through, refreshing my email. Sometimes you guys send me emails and I don't necessarily recognize. It's not your screen name. It's actually your real name or whatever you go by. And we are clear. Batman Forever is my favorite movie from that trilogy. The Batman is my favorite Batman movie. Matt Reeves' Batman is my favorite Batman movie. No, no, it looks horrible. It looks dreadful. And I think had it got released, I think it would have really hurt a lot of people's career. I think it would have hurt Superman in cinema. I think we dodged a bullet by not saying that. Now everybody wants to see it, but not out of its cinematic value. They just want to see it out of curiosity. But I just based on what we've seen, it looks horrible. The costume looks horrible. Nicolas Cage in it looks horrible. The script, from what I've everything I've been able to ascertain, even Kevin Smith, I think, wrote it. It just sounds like an absolute disaster that I think would have left a permanent mark on a lot of careers, and it would have really really done damage to the IP. That movie got released. That's just my opinion. Some people would say, yeah, it looks like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I just based on what's public facing, I think that all involved dodged a bullet. It's perfect now. It has become a cult classic. In that vein, maybe fine because what can it hurt now? But back at the time it was going to be released, oh wow, I think that would have been an absolute disaster. Oh yeah, Batman. Batman, like I said, Batman on several levels should have been an R-rated movie, but they didn't do it for a lot of different reasons. But how about Superman Returns? I thought Superman Returns was a bad movie that wasted what could have been a good performance by Brandon Routh and Kevin Spacey. And there's a lot of good performances, or good performers in it, but I just didn't think I got an A game from any of them. And I thought the movie was just too much nostalgia. Yeah, same here. I like Batman '89 more. Looking forward to Returns. As an adult, it just doesn't hold up. Tim went to Burton as a Batman. Yeah, and like I said, if you've listened to me for long enough, you'll know Tim Burton in general. I think he's one of those guys that developed a style that where he takes it, is not always appropriate where it goes. Superman lives at the end. He fight a giant spider that was producer John. But yeah, like I said, if I never see I've seen the documentary that John Snepp did, the Death of Superman Lives, what happened. That's as much as I need to see of that movie. Just buzzing from what I saw. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for being the best part of this entire YouTube experience. Please hit the like and subscribe button on both the Point Action Lounge and the Sci-Fi Center's YouTube channel. I do not know when the next time I'm going to stream again. Might be tomorrow, but we got a lot of stuff going on. I know I'll be streaming on Wednesday because I'll be doing an out-of-theater review for Last Voyage of the Demeter. And also keep an eye out for my little segment called Cover Story. I've almost done editing it in it, putting in the stuff that I need in it. And it's going to be one of the many things I do on the Sci-Fi Center's YouTube channel that is like 5, 6, 7 minute content that'll you guys can blow through quickly. And it'll be informational, purely informational, not as opinionated as our streams go. So have fun with that once it hits. And I will see you guys throughout the week at some juncture.